Okay, we are looking at standard form. So our first question, we are going to take an ordinary number and we're going to write it in standard form. So to start off with, we know standard form has to be a number between 1 and 10 times by 10 to the power of something. So look, number between 1 and 10 times 10 to the power of something. It's always a multiply. This is always a number between 1 and 10, and this can be any whole number, positive or negative. So we are going to choose the part which is the number between 1 and 10, and it's going to be 5.6. Now, we have altered this number by moving our decimal place here, so we are going to have to times it by 10 to the power of something to get it back to this value. So our decimal place would actually be here in this number if it had a decimal place, and it has jumped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. So we put the 5 up there. Because we've got a nice positive number here, we know that is actually getting bigger. And we can see that this number is a lot bigger than that number because it's being made bigger by this amount. Okay, on this one we're going to convert this number into standard form. So again, we need the part that is between 1 and 10. So 6.5 is always going to be times by 10 to the power of something. Now we've actually taken this one and we've made the number smaller from here to here. So although we are timesing it by 10, we want to make our value smaller. So it's going to be a negative power. So our decimal has gone from this point, and sorry, it's gone from here and it's gone to this. So it's gone 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps in that direction, which is why it's negative. So it's negative 4. Okay, we can see if our number is a big number, it's going to have a positive power. If our number is a very small number, it's going to have a negative power. You need to remember that for future use. Okay, we're now going to do the opposite. We are going to take a number out of standard form. So the first thing I do when we are taking a number out of standard form, converting it to an ordinary number, is I write down the number without any decimal points. Okay, we can see that this point has gone from here and it takes 6 jumps that way. We know it is getting bigger, so it's going to be a number with lots of zeros after it because it's going to be quite a big number. So it's gone from here, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Underneath all of these bumps, we now fill with zeros. Okay, that is this number out of standard form as an ordinary number. Okay, we can see from the second example, we're actually going to be making this number a lot smaller because we've got a negative 5. So I write down the number without any decimals, and then I'm thinking if it's going to go smaller, then we have to be going this way. So it's going to go 5 jumps that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is where our decimal place will be. We fill under the bumps with zeros again. Okay, and that is our final number. Make sure it looks nice and clear. I know that one's not the best. To make it really clear what you're trying to tell the examiner your answer is. Okay, now we look at some calculations. So when we are dealing with calculations involving multiplication in the middle, these bits will always be times because they're in standard form. They're always going to be times in. So we are going to deal with the number part and the standard form parts separately. So I take my numbers and I've got 3 times by 2, and I take my standard form and I've got 10 to the 7 times 10 to the 4. Now 3 2's, nice and easy, we can do that one straight away. And the powers, if we think about multiplying indices, we know that we add the powers. So 7, add 4, we're going to be looking at 11. So our final answer is going to look like this, and we always put a multiply in between them. So we've got 6 times by 10 to the power of 11 as the final answer for this question. Now, when we divide, we do it in a very similar way, but we need to make sure that we are dividing each time instead of times in. Our final answer will still have a multiply symbol between them. So we're going to take the 9 and we're going to take the 2, but this time it's going to be 9 divided by 2. And we're going to take the 10 to the 7 divided by the 10 to the 3. 9 divided by 2 is going to give us 4.5. And 10 to the power of 7 divided by 10 to the power of 3. When we divide our powers, we subtract. So 10 to the power of 7, subtracting that 3 is going to give us 10 to the power of 4. But like I said, we will always have a multiply between numbers on the answer.